I'm not worried about 17 days from now. I'm actually worried
Right.
about the Biden administration. But but it's mostly to remind people that what we just signed is not a human services bill. It's a
Yeah.
defense bill. That's
Yeah.
what I just wanted to transition to.
Yeah.
What we just signed is a defense bill. It's not a human services bill. It's just wrapped up in a whole bunch of other tape. So I think it's just really important to. I mean, I we didn't even go into the breakdown of this, but let's transition to the U.S. Senate overrides Trump's defense of the bill veto,
Okay.
which is important. It's not like this defense bill should not occur. It's relatively important to understand that this happens every year for the last 60 years or so. So him holding the bill up is just a matter of getting what you want out of the bill. So I am 100% with the people who want $2,000 per person. I am specifically very much advocating for that, and I have no idea why it did not pass, other than honestly the investment class telling people, no, you'll inflate our budgets, you'll make it so that our value is not as high, and therefore doing this will not help us, so don't do it. Just extend the relief from the PPP and your unemployment benefits, and that's the only thing you need to do. I think Trump understands populism. Trump
Yeah.
understands populism and wanted to go for that, and knew that that would be effective in getting people out in Georgia.
That's what
So,
Obama did
uh,
too. Obama and all these, they use like a lot of progressive thoughts and ideas, and they try to put it in their campaign or whatever they want to spew out there, and it helps them get popularity. But then later on, they renege on it. You know what I mean? And I feel like personally with this whole uh, $2,000 that he offered was for his own benefit at the end of the day, and that he's not. I don't think he would have really. I mean, he might have stuck to it at the end of the day, but it seems like,
yeah.
you know, who knows, right? Like I think he ended up signing off for the was it 900 billion or whatever it was that they had
Hmm.
for the $600 a week, $600 payments. I mean, which means like
Yes.
he actually gave in at that point, right? So was he really going to do the 2000? Even though they say that I'm still down for it, and he didn't really like yell and scream when they didn't do it, right? And now the Republicans are against it. He kind of knew the Republicans were going to be against it, in my mind. So I think that it's not going to go any further than what it is right now, at least for now. You know what I mean? Maybe when Biden comes in, it might change, but talk is cheap,
No, I
man.
don't.
Like
No,
at the
I
end of
only
the day.
see I see a new bill maybe coming up at 1,200. Maybe I don't
Yeah.
see another. Maybe 2,000 becomes the price point, which is
Hmm.
would be good.
Hmm.
I don't see that. Mitch McConnell, like I have to give it to the fact that without winning Georgia or splitting Georgia,
Hmm.
um, the Republican Senate is never going to pass anything that is going to be progressive or like paying out to people. You could actually even say that it's a liberal idea to pay people uh, for their time out. Actually, if we get to it at some point, let me just talk about it specifically. On January 1st, the Senate votes to limit debate on the vote of the defense bill. The U.S. Senate 60 votes were needed, and they got 60 votes. They got an 81 to 13 vote. Actually, the only senators to really noticeably go against it were Bernie Sanders and Cory Booker.
Mm. Wow.
Just gonna throw that out there. Just
Jersey's
interesting.
own.
Cory Booker actually went against it.
Man.
Didn't see that one coming. So yeah, let's give it up to the troll, Mitch McConnell. Let's go to that first video.
Okay, you want to go to the first video? Gotcha.
Yeah.
But last night, a big bipartisan majority of 80 senators voted to proceed. There should be nothing controversial about giving our brave men and women in uniform the tools and training they need to stay safe. There should be nothing controversial about continuing the work of rebuilding and modernizing our capabilities. It should be a nonpartisan proposition that America should keep pace with Russia and China rather than slip behind. We've enacted an annual NDAA for 59 straight years and counting. In the next few days, the easy way or the hard way, we're going to do our job once again. This body will fulfill our responsibility to the men and women who protect our country. So the Senate will be here until we finish this bipartisan legislation.
So the real point here is that it is a bipartisan defense bill legislation, and I just want to make it clear to everybody if they don't see it. Like, they are kind of gaslighting you with, if you don't pass this, he's gaslighting everybody on every end. But he's like, if you don't do what I say, we'll kill everyone because we already are in so many wars. You're gonna kill everybody because of it. So you better give us money right now. You better just do it now. And this is a bipartisan effort. We're all friends here. And I just hate to tell you that this is the war machine. Like, it's unfortunately the war machine. And I don't see this changing. This is, we wanted to title this, What Will Change and What Will Not Change in 2021, for the specific reason that, yes, this is a positive. We wanted it. I mean, if we didn't get $600, there's a lot of people who would just be starving.
They still are.
But
yeah. like $600. I saw a thing on just a quick funny joke. It's not even a joke, but I saw a meme with like a Walmart thing. Oh, you guys are getting $600, and then they had the prices of all the TVs at like $599, $550. You know what I mean? Like all that stuff as a joke, because people are gonna either spend the money frivolously, not thinking, or that at the end of the day, it's just not gonna last. It's just like something you could buy something small with, and I had to laugh at that. As sad as it is, $600 is nothing, bro. Like we spend that like every 2 weeks at minimal on food in this house. You know what I mean? Like, because of the fact that we have such a big family here. So I'm not saying we're not grateful that money came in, but that really doesn't amount to much at the end of the day. Like, that could be spent in a week, and what is it? 9 months? It's been 9 months since they gave us any payments. Yeah, that's gone. Yeah.
Somebody made a compelling argument that I actually agree with, so I'll just state it. So we need to organize outside the White House, says mischievous raccoon. So saying that, and all to take the L dance when Trump is leaving. So basically, yeah, I think we're all in actually agreement here. We do believe in organizing outside the executive branch and the legislature right now to try to find a way to help people. Unfortunately, I think we have the knowledge that the federal government is supposed to be assisting us at this point, and they should have been doing it already. So we're fighting we know we're fighting an uphill battle. We're just trying to keep people talking about it, because I think there's a malaise that's going to happen when we get Biden in office. I just said, it's a defense bill. It's not a bill for health and services, and we need to think about what we're going to do about this vaccine. How are we going to get it to people? I think that's a much more entrenched problem, and it sucks that we can't get standalone bills. We have to acknowledge that we're not getting standalone bills. So I just want to talk about it on every angle, because you're completely correct. We should be organizing and finding ways to help each other outside of there. And there's a lot of good churches. There's a lot of political organizations right now, especially in New York City. I don't know about Newark. Should ask about Newark.
Driven. We're gonna, like I said, I'm gonna bring in some people soon that we had spoken about the stuff going out here in Jersey and in Newark. The other thing I was gonna, of course, community driven stuff. I think at the end of the year, like 1 year of Biden's thing, I think people are gonna start really realizing, like, they think that Trump is gone. A lot of people think that since Trump is gone, everything's gonna get better all of a sudden or whatever. And unless Biden does something in his first year that's significant, right? They're going to realize we're all going to have to work together to get through this, because I really don't think much is going to change. I think we're going to have some stability in regards to like more educated people working on the process of making it better. But at the same time, like you had, the war machine, like you said, and all the other stuff is still going to be there. The whole corporatist mentality that they have is still going to be there. The Senate is close to being lost. Hopefully it won't be. But we'll see how it turns out.
Soon.
The judges, it all depends. And like I said, the first year, is going to be a defining year, because if people don't see huge change in that first year, people are going to be pissed, and they're going to want to either do stuff with the community, or there's going to be hella lot of protesters and stuff in the streets, I think, fighting to get whatever it is that they need. The Medicare for all stuff is a big thing. That fight for
Force
what
the
is it?
vote.
Force the vote, right?
Force the
That's a
vote.
big thing. Yeah, yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah,
You're
I
saying?
mean, it's just interesting because we should talk about this, but I wanted to talk about it with more people. So Daniel might be a good person to talk about. So
Hmm.
on Wednesday, our guest will be Daniel, who's a cook and etc. He's done multiple jobs, but is a cook is what he's doing now. So I feel like he has a lot of like very class argument kind of ways of thinking of the world. So that'll be fun to talk to you about. Um, just in general, this person has a really great point that our country we should have term limits of age too,
Hmm.
because this president doesn't have the incentive of a two-term president. I think
People
that's
are
what they're trying to say.
Yeah, people are also clueless. Like these old fogies, I don't mean to insult all of them because some of them have good hearts, but a lot of them are just old fogies that don't have any idea what technology is capable of, the purpose of the technology that's out, why people are using it the way they are, and so on and so forth. So they don't see, like, they make opinions without actually having any idea of like the consequences of those opinions. Like, oh, Facebook does this and spies on you. Yeah, everybody does. Like if you look at, they don't know a lot of stuff. And if you have younger minds, more people that are kind of like on the level of what's going on in the now, you know what I mean? I think we would have better results in regards to things. We also need some, obviously, legacy people that know, um, I guess legacy might be a good word for it, that might know how to deal with things historically, you know what I mean? But we also need fresh eyes, you know what I mean? We need the fresh eyes in there and the fresh ears and the people that are kind of like more open-minded to other things, and right now we got like some closed-minded, like old, mean, grumpy old people, going on the verge of like, I don't want to say death because I don't want anything to
Well,
happen, but
no, no,
they're
no, no.
so
But here we
old.
go.
They're
We
like
should go to
80s and 90s, going in their 80s and 90s.
60s and
No,
80s and 70s. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, I mean, I'm exaggerating, but I mean, it feels like it. Like the stuff that they say, it sounds like I'm talking to my grandmother or grandfather, and asking their advice about a computer or something. You know what I mean? It's like they can't grasp it. They don't understand the movements and the struggles that a lot of young people are going through right now, and
Yeah, I
it's
mean,
hurting
it
us.
literally the average age is 57.8, and
Yeah.
which why I just wanted to throw us off to Chuck Schumer um because this is just the mindset. I just want to make sure people see that we're trying to talk about this as progressives, as this is a bipartisan effort to just make the middle of the road deal. And I know that most of us are smart enough to know that the progressives or the left kind of want that $2,000 because it's a good PR, and we we need 2,000 for multiple months basically, and we need to start doing the rating at a little bit lower, and we should have that argument, but we're not even having that health argument. We're having it added to a defense bill just to force it through. So I just, yeah, let's throw it to Chuck Schumer.
It's the only way to get the American people the $2,000 checks they need and deserve. The House is gone for the session. Any modification or addition to the House bill can't become law. Either the Senate takes up and passes the House bill, or struggling Americans will not get $2,000 checks during the worst economic crisis since the Great Depression. And Leader McConnell knows this. So he has said that the Senate can only vote on a bill that combines the checks with other unrelated partisan policies. Repeal Section 230, an investigation into the president's dishonest and bogus claims of election fraud. The Republican leader claims that President Trump insists that all three issues must be addressed in one bill. But of course, the president has made no such demand. President Trump couldn't care less about how the bills are packaged in Congress. So the Republican leader has invented an excuse to prevent a clean up or down, yes or no vote on $2,000 checks coming to the floor. This maneuver to combine all three issues is intended to kill the possibility of $2,000 checks ever becoming law. Just to prove it, let me make this offer to the Republican majority. We're willing to vote on the other issues that President Trump mentioned, all the issues the Republican leader says must be addressed, so long as we vote on them separately. That way, $2,000 checks could become law, and we could debate all the president's supposed concerns. We can vote on setting up a commission to look at the president's roundly rejected claims of voter fraud. We'd also have the commission look at voter suppression and gerrymandering. That's completely unrelated to help Americans paying their bills. But we're willing to take a look at the whole picture. Just give us a vote on the House-passed bill so we can get help now to people who desperately need it.
Just the showboating, just how much showboating is happening there. That's actually, I hate to say there's somebody that's in the Twitch chat right now. So it's very interesting that they're talking about the basis of every government should be actively improving the conditions of its citizens, and also that it's stupid that we have to call ourselves progressives. So in a way, I agree with you. It's stupid that we've had to call this line here where we have to call ourselves progressives, but it's in a classic history of what progressives were to the 1900s and us trying to identify ourselves amongst us. So I think that's an unfortunate, that's just an unfortunate part of politics, is that you make groups amongst yourselves. It's sociology. It's trying to identify who is thinking in the same groups as you are, not to push them away, but more off to find who you can build with. Because it would be impossible to build with some of the people that I know that are from the South, who have very contrary, I would just call them conservative views. I would say that every little view is different. They're not a hardliner, but yeah, I wouldn't be able to build the same contingents. And I think it's just important to understand that this is like being called black. Being black is multiple things. I'm not just black. I'm Jamaican. I'm a firstborn Jamaican who was raised in New York and New Jersey. It doesn't, like that's going to be, if it's a Southern, if it's a Southern black person, we're going to have weird conversations. There's some stuff that culturally we have no identification with. And I find the same thing with progressives as people who identify themselves as progressives. I would even say that I'm more of a socialist. I think Robert is, I don't know, what would you, ask you instead of presuming?
I usually label myself as a democratic socialist. So I guess I'm, maybe not as far left as because I believe in certain things, not far right, obviously, but excuse me. But I gotta hit the mute button next time. But I believe that everybody deserves a certain level playing field before that you could start criticizing people. Like until everybody's on a certain level where we can all start somewhere, we all have proper education, proper healthcare, proper a system that'll allow them to blossom into something. It doesn't have to be we're all gonna be millionaires. You know what I mean? It has to be something where it's, at least the standard of living is there so that they can do something. Because if you put somebody in a situation, throw them in the projects or throw them in an area where there's low income, a lot of crime, what do you think's gonna happen? It's not gonna get better. Things aren't gonna get better for those people, and they're gonna keep creating generations upon generations of that. You know what I mean? Which in my mind doesn't help anything. Doesn't help the rich, doesn't help the poor, doesn't help the middle class. At the end of the day, there's got to be a certain baseline for everybody, and it takes social programs, I believe, for that to happen. And of course, you got people that'll disagree with me, but in a perfect world, I feel like we would all be humans, right? We'd all be humans. We'd all respect each other's. We'd all respect each other's culture. We would all help each other. We'd all be community driven. That's what Jesus is supposedly, right? Even though a lot of these conservatives claim to believe in God and everything else, that's what Jesus would have done. He would want everybody to be taken care of, for everybody to help each other. You know what I mean? And yet,
which is why we focus so much on the damn federal government, is because these are the larger forms of that. Like, as much as we want to organize outside of this, like, you have to understand what your enemy is, and sometimes you're what is the system you're within.
Yep.
So you're almost fighting within a system.
Yeah. I believe at the end of the day, I can't say everybody has good intentions, but the decent people out there, the quote unquote decent people, I think they all want a lot of the same thing, whether they're on the left, the right, center, whatever. You know what I mean? But because their base has made them believe things, or the media's made them believe certain things, automatically it's bad. Oh, communism's bad, or this is bad. There's certain things in every system that could be applied. That could be, it's all about taking things, adapting, molding it into something that helps other people. At the end of the day, if you could create a capitalistic system that can help people, I got nothing against it. But from what I've seen in a lot of capitalism, it's like greed ends up taking over a lot of people's, thinking processes and how they do business and their intentions, and it screws people over. The reason why I lean left is because, in theory, their base is to help people, grassroots, community driven. I don't see that with on the other side. I see fix your bootstraps or do this or do that and blah 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 blah. And at the end of the day, it doesn't seem to be doing telling people you should be doing this. It's not effective. Helping people do something, getting them in a position where they can start doing things for themselves is a lot better. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to say give them everything, but I'm trying to say push them in a direction, give them a shove, give them a little push, help them find those resources that allow them to not be that criminal on the street that you're so worried about and that you need the quote unquote cops to protect you from.